Alright you guys, we just got a new trailer last night for the upcoming musical crossover between Supergirl and The Flash, and we got some fun behind the scenes stuff for it, so let's break it down and check it out. First off, important to note, this crossover is actually going to be a two-parter. Yeah, it actually starts off with Supergirl at the end of her 16th episode, which is why in the promo for that episode, we got a quick glimpse of the Music Meister that you can see right here, and that episode airs this coming Monday. It turns out the Music Meister puts her in this coma, although whether we see that on the Supergirl episode or in a flashback on The Flash, I don't know. But then the crossover is going to end with episode 17 of The Flash, which airs the Tuesday after Supergirl. And what happens there is that Team Flash is visited by Mon-El and Martian Manhunter, who are carrying an unconscious Supergirl, and because she won't wake up from her coma, the two of them went looking for help. But then the Music Meister pops up and puts the Flash in the same coma as Supergirl, and they find themselves in this weird alternate life as a musical style reality without their powers. And they have to go through the story of this alternate reality as intended by the Music Meister until they reach the end of what he calls the quote-unquote script. This is a bit weird, especially since we're just coming off this really dark and personal story on The Flash. I'm not going to get into anything specific because I don't want to give away any spoilers, just in case somebody watching this video hasn't seen that episode yet, but believe me, it's definitely weird to go from that to this light, bright, and fun episode, you know what I mean? I'm guessing based on the fact that we see Music Meister on Kara's Earth that he was originally from that universe, but because of how his scheme in the crossover turns out, he later moves to Central City, since we see in the future that he's supposed to have this lucrative deal going on.
Music Meister gets six-figure book deal.
I'm guessing things go relatively well for him, all things considered, since he's not exactly hiding out from anyone. Otherwise, why announce the deal on the news? We also find out in the behind-the-scenes footage / interview video that was released somewhat recently that the reason Music Meister is doing what he does is because he wants to teach everyone some kind of a lesson. Maybe it has something to do with why he was captured back on Supergirl's Earth. I mean, he was supposedly targeting couples.
And he's kind of stringing all of our main characters along, particularly the couples, to maybe teach them a lesson, that's what he says.
And we do see in the Supergirl promo that she and Mon-El are having problems with their relationship, so maybe that's the catalyst for this whole thing. But let's get into the footage we saw in the Flash promo. It starts off with Kara on this stage. She seems really confused, like she has no clue what's going on, almost like she was just put into this musical world like right away, which is weird since she was supposed to have been put into a coma by the Music Meister before Barry, so I'm not entirely sure why she's looking so off. You'd think after however long she's been in this world that she not necessarily would be used to it, but she'd be more like, okay, this is the situation, now how do I get out of here? Unless this is supposed to mean that the musical dream didn't really start till Barry got put in the coma too, which I guess makes sense on some level, but again, it just seems kind of weird. We do see a poster in the background behind Barry here. That's actually a reference to the real-life magician Howard Thurston. He was this big-name magician back in the early 1900s and really reached his peak by the 1920s. Like, he had huge trains packed full of stuff for his road shows. And this really fits with the whole Roaring 20s, very upbeat, very jazzy vibe the promo has going on. Then we get our first look at Darren Criss as the Music Meister. He tells Kara and Barry that they're in a movie musical, basically just a romanticized version of the early to mid 1900s. That explains why we get the Thurston poster in the background here, but then later get shots of the Tommy guns later on in the promo. The timelines for these things wouldn't add up in the real world. We also hear his dialogue from the same scene, but spread out throughout the rest of the promo, that Barry and Kara don't actually have their powers, that they can die in this alternate reality.
Although I should mention, if you die in here, you die out there.
So it's basically like a musical version of The Matrix. You die in here, you die out there in the real world. We also see in the promo that both Victor Garber's Martin Stein and Jesse Martin's Joe West are gangsters in this alternate reality. And yes, based off a confirmed list we got a while back, plus some shots from the behind the scenes video, the both of them are going to be singing in this episode. We already got a taste of what that's going to be like when we heard them sing in both an episode of The Flash.
Yeah, who knows where or when?
And in the latest episode of Legends of Tomorrow.
Dale! Dale! Daylight come and me want go home.
It looks like they're going to be working together towards some goal based on this shot from the behind the scenes video, possibly just something simple like going to war against Malcolm Merlyn here, as hinted at by Joe when he mentions,
"Gather the boys, we're going to war."
It's weird though that Malcolm's also a gangster in this reality. Like, I'm not entirely sure why he's here, since he's more of an Arrow villain and now he's on Legends of Tomorrow as a member of the Legion of Doom, but everyone else we see has a stronger tie to Barry and Kara, but whatever. I'm sure they'll have some explanation for this next week. We get a real quick shot of this dance number here. There's not too much detail we can pull from this quick glimpse, but you can actually see the Music Meister sitting right there. We actually get a better look at this whole setup in the behind the scenes video where we see Darren Criss going through this whole choreographed song and dance routine. It looks like this might be the big reveal, you know, like this might be the first time we actually see him in this alternate reality. He's kind of showing off his whole shtick to Barry and Kara. Like I said before, Joe and Stein are going to go up against Malcolm Merlyn in this alternate reality. Both sides are just shooting at each other before Barry just runs out in between both groups and tries to get them to stop attacking each other. This could actually play out two different ways. I haven't really decided yet. Either this is part of the Music Meister story and Barry is supposed to run out in between both groups, risk getting shot, and sing a song about how they should resolve their differences without bullets or something, or flipping it, this is actually Barry going against the Music Meister script and trying to save Joe and Stein from being turned into Swiss cheese, despite the fact that going against the script would mean him staying in the world without his powers and staying in a coma forever. There's also this quick shot after the Music Meister gives them their Matrix-style warning, like this one with Win from Supergirl playing the piano. Jeremy Jordan, the guy that actually plays Win on Supergirl, he's actually a big-time singer on top of being an actor. Like, he showed up on Broadway a whole bunch of times, like he was in Bonnie and Clyde and the Newsies and stuff like that, so he definitely has the singing chops necessary to carry him through a crossover like this. And that's pretty much it for the promo. I mean, there are a couple of unanswered questions this leaves us with, like where Cisco fits into all this. You see, Carlos Valdez, the actor who plays Cisco, his name popped up on the same list of actors who were supposed to sing in this episode, but we don't really get to see him in this promo, so I'm curious what role he plays, like who he's supposed to be in this alternate reality. And that's another thing. I know I keep referring to all these characters by their regular names, like Joe and Stein in them, but they actually have different character names. Like, they all play parts in this big musical. Candace Patton, who plays Iris, she mentions that she's going to be playing a character called Millie in this alternate reality. So I'm guessing on top of everybody being singers, they're also supposed to be completely different people, completely different personality traits to go along with this whole musical production theme. There's also the question of what's going on in the outside world during all this stuff. Like, Barry and Kara are the only ones in the coma, so what's everybody else doing? The Music Meister isn't in a coma, so I imagine he'd be able to run around by himself in the real world. Does he try to get away from Star Labs after he whammies the Flash, or does he get caught by any of the other heroes? What's going to happen with Wally now that he's free? Are we going to see him dealing with some type of PTSD after his time in the Speed Force or something? Either way, I can't wait to see what happens. Like I said before, this looks like such a weird, out of left field filler crossover, but it could have some pretty interesting ties to the future of both Supergirl and the Flash. Especially the Flash though, since as I mentioned before, the Music Meister did show up in the future Barry traveled to. And there you have it, that's the entire episode 17 promo breakdown. If you noticed anything else that I didn't mention, go ahead and post it in the comments below. And if you want to see me do more trailer breakdowns, then go ahead and smash that like button. Let me know you want to see videos like this again. And with all that, I will see you all next time. Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, be sure to click that like button, maybe leave me a comment while you're at it, and go ahead and click that subscribe button. Also, don't forget to check out any of my social media pages. I've got a Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram. All those links are going to be in the description below. And I've also got my last video right there in the middle of your screen. So if you want to check that out, go ahead and click it, check it out. Alright, and I will see you all next time.